Hi and welcome to Arventa podcast. I have PJ today. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's brilliant. So PJ is a fantastic person to listen to, and he has a lot of wisdom to share. But we're gonna start with his businesses. Tell us what you do.
Well, we currently have two businesses. The first business, which is going the longest, 37 years, is Murray O'Leary Opticians. We've 27 staff and trading in Blanchardstown, Rathmines, Navan, and Dunleary. And more recently, we've put a great management team in place, and everything's going very well in that business. The second business we have is called the Alternative Board, and that was a business I brought to Ireland back 2013, which I bought it under license from Denver in Colorado. And we were the fourth country in the world to take on the concept. And the concept was about having an advisory board and to coach business owners, business leaders. And I got great benefit from having a similar thing when I was a chief executive of Clerys department store and retail group. And I just found so much benefit from that. It was a safe place, a place where you could bring any problem, challenge, and you'd get advice from people who were not connected with your business. They weren't trying to stay employees. They weren't trying to be consultants and earn the next paycheck. And they were there just to give you perspective and help. And business owners, because it's a very lonely position, they actually need that. CEOs can be in the same position. I had my statutory board as well, but I found that the advisory board I had was of huge benefit to me. It certainly made my life a lot easier than I think from my predecessors, even though we went through the crash in much tougher times. I liked it so much, I said, that concept needs to be brought even to smaller businesses. And after the crash and after Clerys being sold to Gordon Brothers, it was a great opportunity. I found this, I had a broker helping me, and I found it online. We found this business. It was number 16 in the fastest growing B2B franchises in North America. And we were the fourth country in the world to take it on. We're now in 24 countries. And we're focused very much on helping SME businesses. We do advisory boards for them, which is bringing non-competing business owners together so they can benefit from that concept of the collective wisdom of a group, the accountability of the group, the creativity of people outside your industry, and the clarity of advice you get that really eliminates the fear of change is just so important. And to have a group of people who have just got your back, but you're also learning from them as they present their challenges on a monthly basis. It's the same group of people meet month in, month out. We've developed that over the years, where now we work with senior leadership teams in developing strategy, because the working with the team and emerging from the team is just as important as what is the strategy, because you've got buy-in and weigh-in behind everybody behind it. And the third element we're doing a lot of now, which is a program called HiMap, which is about developing the management team so they can be great. They can be a super management team. Acting is like people that you've got to hire. If they might be paid, medium sort of money, but they can behave like they're a really high paid team that's had tremendous experience out of doing a program like that. And it covers all aspects of management. They're coached in between the sessions about how they've implemented them. Sometimes we work mixed groups. So people again are learning from other people, and it's all based on the concepts of adult learning. So that's the business of the alternative board.
You do a lot. You do a lot as always, PJ, and always pleasure to have a chat with you. And if we look at the tap, for example, what are the main challenges that you see that small businesses are currently facing, or the main questions that are being raised to the board that need to be addressed, where the business owners are really challenged or don't know where to go, what to do?
Well, invariably, we see them form around six major pain points. The first one really is about as the business grows and they're being successful, they start to realize what got them to here won't get them to the next level. And that is because they start becoming too busy. The tyranny of the urgent over the important overwhelms them. And in that situation, it's their relationship with time, what they're doing. So they have to change themselves or they won't get to the next level. And this is a problem for many of them. So it's something about their relationship with time. The next challenge we see may be something about money, funding, getting it, or what do I do with the surpluses? It's something around the money. Maybe sometimes even understanding it. Times people don't really understand the financials and their balance sheet and things like that. The next problem, which really dominates more than any other single challenge, actually is dealing with the stakeholders, and I mean the employees, the staff, the management, the partners, whoever the stakeholder is, dealing with people is always incredibly complex. And no AI is going to tell you how to do it. It takes a lot of teasing out how to deal with any human situation. And I would say probably 60% of the issues around how do I find the right people? How do I develop the right people? How do I retain the right people? How do I motivate them? How do I, work an exit mechanism if it's not working out? How do I hire better? So the people issues are absolutely enormous. The next ones we'd see really is about there is a need for people to stay ahead of the game, and they understand that lifelong learning is really important if they're to succeed. And they really find that they learn from other people from outside their own industries, because each one of them tends to be quite good at what they do, but what's next? And invariably, the inspiration is from outside their industries. And the final one is really about a combination of the strategy and the vision of the company. How clear is it? How compelling is it? Are people all behind it or not? And then, and what is the exit? How do they get out of the business? Because we tell them certainly you're guaranteed you will exit the business in one of three ways, and you're absolutely guaranteed some sort of transaction, passing it on to family, selling it to employees, whatever, some sort of a transaction, a liquidation, or you go out, you die in the saddle, you go out in a box. And nobody wants to really go out in the box. They want to do some kind of a transaction because you don't want to go into liquidation. But what does that look like? Because people's lives are very much their identity, their purpose. Everything often tied into the actual business. So we kind of help people to see what not are they retiring from, but what are they retiring to? Lots of people will ask me, will I help them sell their business? And I say, no, I'll introduce you to people whose job it is to sell the business. My job is to make sure that you're happy after selling the business, because we know that up to 80% of business owners are unhappy 18 months afterwards. Unhappy something about the process, maybe the way the stakeholders were dealt with, or maybe they've lost their sense of purpose. In fact, I'm working with one of our members who did retire, successfully sold his business on a book at the moment, which is it's about that. How do you have a sense of purpose in your life, which is most important, because you have a set of purpose when you have a business. It's to keep it going, it's to grow it, it's to keep everybody happy in the business. And when you don't have that, it's a big change.
That's really interesting. I see that regardless the time, there are timeless pain points that every single business owner has. And based on your current experience of dealing with the business owners, either from your executive board or maybe the companies that you're working with, do they see a lot that technology is somehow influencing their sectors, or they don't feel that much?
Technology is impacting everybody, and one of the beauties of learning from each other, we also give an educational component in all of our board meetings. And in fact, about 3.5 years ago, it was about, we do one on technology every year, but it was a few days after ChatGPT being launched. So we're to look, 3.5 years later, we see that people are automating processes. They're getting their quotations done and their proposals done, maybe 95% automated, because they're using their proprietary templates and everything. They're getting away from routine stuff by letting agents take care of absolutely routine matters. They're using to check contracts to ensure, am I within the contract? Is it an extra, or is it something we should be, charging the client for, whatever? So contract management. AI is absolutely impacting everybody's role, and it is making business a lot more productive, but it's bringing around a lot more of opportunity. And a lot of our members are also seeing the limitations of AI. And we have lots of discussions about where is the human in the middle, because humans want to deal with humans, because we know AI is merely predictive as what it's going to do. Its memory is not finite. It doesn't really remember everything, because it will understand. If you can feed Bibles into it, and it'll summarize them for you. But the relationship between every word is actually billions of parameters. And it may forget things that are really fundamental that go back a long way in favor of recency. And we've seen people learn that. I've even learned it myself doing apps and actually working on quite complex uh, contractual, maybe negotiations or whatever, with a lot of data in it. So you have to have the human in the middle, and you have to know where the human needs to be, and the human is going to be important for a long time yet.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because AI can optimize certain things. It can make your processes that are routine, well known by human, really efficient, and that will free up the time and give give the time back to grow the business or focus on something that is more important, rather than you can't really use it for fully putting their strategy in front of you together and things like that, because at the end of the day, AI is learning from the information, the input of the information that is going into it, meaning that if you didn't input something, like you say, it can forget things, but it can certain things it wouldn't even know. And it wouldn't know certain things and details of your business as you as a business owner know in order to be able to grow and thrive in your business. So I think it's really, really spot on there and a great point. Because I also seen that many companies are trying to apply AI. There is a lot of, I don't trust it that much. I'm not sure if I want to put my data in it, where this data is going to go. And I think there are a lot of barriers with that as well. So it's better to do those tiny steps in order to get certain processes optimized, but still use your brain because you have the brain for a reason, I guess.
It is, and like one of the industries that was forecast to be most impacted was the legal profession. But I was talking to a HR legal individual only last week, and they talked about that in one of the cases they've come across where there is a lot of, let's say, on both sides of the equation, but one side is generating loads of AI, and a lot of it's not very good. It's more AI slop. But the reality is that the lawyers have to go through it. So in fact, the lawyers in HR are out the door because, and we even know that the Workplace Relationship Commission, WRC, is also under pressure with the amount of AI generated, complaints, between parties, between employees and their employer, etc. And of course, the AI being sympathetic to your situation will say, yes, you've got a great case, when you don't have a great case at all. So there's a lot of conflict is becoming very minute and people are getting very agitated. So we see, in fact, it's increased the workload, not decreased it.
Interesting point here that, yeah, AI will cheer you up and say, yeah, of course, you're brilliant. But I came across a lot of different posts on the LinkedIn and social media where people are saying, oh, my CV didn't work. I used AI to send the CV. And I was like, and the first idea that came to my mind, okay, so a human is writing the CV using AI, sending to the application, where another AI is checking that application against whatever conditions that were put in by recruiter or human resources, judges this application for the humans to be in touch. And I think there is so much talent being just not going through the process because their CV was not really nice for the AI, because AI either biased, forgot something, or just judged in their own way. And I think that we are in the world where there is limited human connection because AI is creating something, another AI is checking something to allow humans to start the conversation. Don't you find this really ridiculous situation in general?
Well, certainly, I know from processing a lot of applications. So one of my lucky side events is that I am chair of a company called HR Duo, which is an end-to-end HR tech platform, and that focuses on workforce management between sort of 50 and 5,000 people. And so we use the applicant tracking system, for example, for Mairead O'Leary opticians. And sometimes we'd have up to 200 applicants maybe for a role. But we first of all look at we know everybody's using AI. The first thing you're looking at is why do you want this job and what's the response? And we can see things like, you can see it's an AI generated response because it doesn't speak to the actual real motivations of the individual. It talks about, yo, you're such a great organization, I'd want to join you, etc. Because they haven't informed the AI right. I've even seen ones that it says, and the client name is still in brackets. They never even read it once. So those ones get excluded immediately. So whatever AI produces, you gotta have the human that supervises it because it will be spotted.
Yeah, I've seen also there was, I think about a couple of years ago, there was an article in the newspaper that was going around the internet as the image that somebody used AI to write the article and then they didn't remove insert the number here or something like this. So yeah, it's just the whole situation is ridiculous because I think that eliminates we use AI in the way that we are not supposed to, I
Yeah.
think, because sometimes certain processes can be automated, but should they be automated is the big question because you might be missing out on something else there because certain business
Yeah,
processes
it's
should be, yes.
I think one of the learnings we've had with our members in the use of AI is that AI, because of its nature, it's predictive, it's not deterministic. In other words, give it A, it doesn't always say B is next. It's about the probability of B being next. And therefore, you're never going to get the same answer. Now, I've often compared answers with the CEO and HR Duo, where we would ask exactly the same question, and he'd say, well, how come your answer is much longer, much more detailed and different than mine? So it's the probabilistic nature in the way you train your own AI in lots of ways. So I train some of my custom GPTs, for example, to ask a lot of questions before giving any information. In
Yeah,
other words, determine the 360 around the problem to frame it properly. But because of that, what you really need to do is to understand the data is something you can control. And when you can control the data, and if the quality of the data is really good, well, then using language to extract out the real value in that, that's a really good use of AI, for example. And that's because it can comprehend, let's say, a document or whatever much, much quicker than you can, and you can put it against a template. So these are really good because it's quite drudgery, that, and it's hard. You know, the cognitive load of doing that sort of thing is pretty heavy, and it doesn't actually add a great deal of value, but you've got to put a lot of effort and energy into it. So I see those, that's really good use of AI, but the bad use of AI is relying upon it. And certainly I've come across members who were maybe raising funds or were negotiating about their business, etc. But they didn't know how to prompt the AI, and the AI was giving them term sheets that were not making any sense at all. That was leaving so much money on the table, and it was such a bad use of resources in actually doing that because they didn't know how to prompt. So a lot of it is knowing what questions to ask, and that is where experience, training, and the human is hugely important in the equation. Because AI will spit out stuff at you, you know, to make you happy and it looks really good. But the more and more I use it, the more I see the limitations of it. Not how much better it's getting, it's more appreciating the limitations of it.
absolutely. I'm with you there because the more you use AI, you understand, okay, this is something is off here. And when you say like there's something is off, it says, oh, you are right. Something is off. And it's like, okay, thank you very much for confirming. That's not what I wanted, but okay. PJ, a fabulous conversation. One question to you. So if you were to give an advice to fellow business owners, what would that be on anything?
One piece of advice is it's about who you surround yourself with because you are a product of who you surround yourself with. Because life is continuous learning. The world is changing all the time. One member of TAB was asked, why was he a member of TAB for over 30 years? And he said, my board and my members have helped me see and the unknown unknowns for over 30 years. And I couldn't have given a better answer myself. So you are who you surround yourself with and try and TAB is just a great way, for example, of surrounding yourself with smart people on the same journey as you. And I think it's about who you surround yourself with.
That's brilliant. I think there is nothing better that could be added. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast, PJ.
You're very welcome. Delighted to attend.